So on one of the previous videos I talked a lot about the autopilot here, or auto helm I should say. It doesn't work anymore. I believe the belt inside of it has burnt out, and I'm gonna have to open it up to check it. I've already taken it off the steering column here, and now I'm going to be taking it off the wheel. To get it off the wheel, it's going to be a little bit tricky because I need to use my magical 3mm hex key wrench, and that is it's a spell I'm not very good at. So it involves using a very specific swish and flick kind of motion, kind of like Wingardium Leviosa, but you know, a little bit different because it's an auto helm, not a feather in class or something like that. So let's give it a try. Faceless this ridiculousness. Okay, and there it is off the wheel. You might notice that the sun has repositioned itself, and the time has also changed, but that is just a side effect of that magical spell. And now I'm going to take it to the store and find out if they have spare parts for it. Okay, so before I take it to the store, I actually went ahead and took it apart and confirmed, yes, the belt has shredded. Which is good because that is a cheap fix and one that I should be able to get done in a little bit. Well, tried the two stores that would have what I need, but neither of them have it. So, guess I'm buying it online. Alright, so today is take the boat down to the shipyard day. I'm cleaning up here in the morning. Gonna go get some breakfast real quick, and then gotta take the boat about 3 hours away to the shipyard with the motor, and the wind is terrible. It's going to rain, and I'm not really looking forward to it. So I'm off the dock, and we're on our way. So the goal is to go from here all the way down to, there. And, the wind is pushing to the south, which is pretty okay for what we're trying to do. And it is drizzling, very, very much drizzling. I've got my waterproof pants on as well as my waterproof jacket, and hopefully we'll get there before the wind picks up too much. It is forecast to pick up earlier than it was forecast yesterday, so we're gonna find out. Okay, so I hauled out the jib, and we're making about 4.5, 5 knots, going with the wind here, jib out only. So I think I'm gonna do that for a while before I turn the engine back on, just to save on fuel and keep the engine nice and not used. All I want for Christmas are my self-tailing winches. That would be a lot easier right now than using that. So I've got the chart plotter kind of set up with a little track on my way to the shipyard, and right now having a working auto helm would be pretty cool because I would not have to constantly dance with the wheel here, but that is how you sail manually. The one challenge about sailing in foul weather is that all the normal landmarks that I use to navigate around here are pretty much hidden by the fog, which means that I have to use my heading a lot more, which is a little bit difficult when by myself. So as we round the point over there, the waves have actually shifted. They're no longer pointed in the same direction as the wind, which is making for a little bit of a weird ride. Kind of having to dance with it right now, and not my favorite. But we are moving along at about 6 knots, so can't complain too much. We are coming up to Kima. Means we have about 20 minutes of motoring back. Get to wave at all the people standing on the boardwalk. Cannot wait. Leaves have died down a lot now that I'm getting closer to the channel. And all the rain that was in front of me is now nowhere in sight. So, it's pretty good. I'm gonna do my stay warm dance because it is cold out. And I don't really like this. So I think next time around, I'm going to do this out in Hawaii, where I don't have to deal with any cold weather any time of the year. Well, it's a little bit weird coming back to the pub here without my boat, but back in my car, gonna go get lunch and then clean. So that is where the mast was. You can see the footprint from the step, and now there's a gaping hole in my roof. Okay, so I've got the mast pulled out. Well, I didn't do it, but somebody pulled it out with that giant crane. That is the corrosion that was affecting it, and I'm really glad that I did not try and take it offshore, because that would have sucked. While it's off of the boat, I'm also going to work on getting the spreader lights over here. These two need to be replaced. And all the way up at the top, the masthead 360 light, usually used for anchoring, it needs to be replaced. And something that I didn't know about, but our wonderful rigging specialist found, this shackle is not fit for purpose. In fact, this entire bracket needs to be flat like that. It cannot be like that. So that needs to be corrected, and we've already talked about that. So hopefully over the next few days we'll have more. I'm glad that it is out of my boat now, though, because the wind tonight is ridiculous, and if it wasn't for the fact that this is out of the water, yeah, it's bad. Okay, it is nighttime. I've already eaten, so I'm just gonna stay in tonight. But this is one project I've got going on. Every window has a little ceiling piece around it, and the original ones are pretty terrible. They shattered as soon as I touched them. So, because I need to replace pretty much every single one of my windows, I've bought this PVC sheeting. Got two of them stacked on top of each other. And we're going to be tracing out a pattern that I cut from wood onto that PVC, and then try to cut it later. But yeah, it is going well. Today is haul out day. Got to get my boat all the way from over here all the way over to there, and we'll be out of the water. Before that happens, I'm going to try to take out the propane tanks, both of them. So I got the propane out. That one's already down there. Problem with this one is that when this valve is opened, it begins to leak from right there, and that means that it is basically unusable. So I got to find out how to get rid of it. Sebastian. You excited to be roommates for the next 7 days? Yeah. Okay, so I'm taking out the spreader lights and I'm going to replace all the wiring with bits of string. That way when I come back with the new wiring I can easily thread it through all the intricacies of the mast. Okay, so up at the top of the mast I've taken off the wind indicator, which was broken and corroded. I've gotten the bulb out of the anchor light, but I need to get a actual new mount for it. I don't like this one. I want to get one with a tricolor on it. Say hi to the Coast Guard. I'll probably go ahead and try to find a better shackle for that as well, because that one is not fit for purpose. Came by after hours to check on the boat. You can see they got it all the way down to the fiberglass there. I'm pretty happy with how quickly that went. Looks like they've already painted some spots on there to make sure that the stands can be moved over and continue painting. Pretty happy with that color too. So, yep, just checking on my boat. One thing that I'm not happy about is the actual prop shaft was severely damaged inside the boat. I'll have to get a picture of that later, but yeah, so that is actually going to have to come out of the boat and be replaced. But other than that, everything looks okay. Did want to check on this to see how that was looking. It looks like some of that metal is actually coming exposed. It's not the end of the world. No. Yeah, some of that fiberglass was completely gone. Yeah, overall, not bad. Looking forward to seeing her painted. While I'm here, I'm going to look at the mast as well. Looks like they've already chopped the bottom, which is excellent, and I cannot wait to see it back in the boat. Okay, I came down here to check out the status of the boat, and it looks like they have it mostly painted. I am pretty happy with how it looks. It looks pretty good compared to how it looked before. A few items are still pending though. They are going to have to put the dome over this air conditioning inlet. That is where all the dead fish have been coming in. I think they've already replaced the through-hull valve though, so that's nice. After that, they'll have to put the shaft back in, a new shaft that is. So I'm looking forward to seeing that done. And it looks like there's a few other tiny spots where there's still paint pending, but other than that, I am pretty pleased with how they are doing. And to top it all off at the end, they will buff and wax the whole boat, which it looks like they've already done, actually. All the giant black marks that were up there are now gone, and the hull looks pretty clean. So yeah, I'll come back tomorrow and check it out then. Okay, so I got one of the spreader lights on, got the other one wired up. The mast should be going in tomorrow, and hopefully we'll have that done. You can see there the new wind indicator is indicating that we are horizontal, as it should. And let's walk down to the base of the mast and we'll show you what we got going on down here. So they've already kind of epoxied the end of the mast here, and that'll help with the bonding to the new riser, I'm guessing. I've got the new wires run here. I'm going to label them before I leave. And other than that, we're in business. Okay, so the mast is going back in the boat at 3 this afternoon. Until then, I'm going to hang out with the boats blowing the water. So the bottom looks painted, and the mast is back in. We'll get the drive shaft back later, and that should finish it up. I like how shiny this is. It's very aesthetic. I love it. Okay, so while the boat is still out of the water. I got the new belt in the mail for the auto helm off Amazon. It's a reproduction of the original one. They don't make the original belts anymore, so fortunately there's other people that do make them. In the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and put it in, and we'll have to try it out when the boat gets back in the water. I'm not even going to talk about that right now because that has turned into a nightmare for me. But let's take a look at this. We shall. So with the belt on the sprocket here, I think it's kind of neat. You can see the mechanism here that actually makes it work. This cam here moves and locks it onto the sprocket, which drives the belt. This other one just kind of sits here, and you've got these rollers here. And the belt actually is a friction fit on this ridge right here that actually moves and spins this part of the wheel, which is connected to the actual steering wheel on the boat. And that is how that actually works. So we're learning new things today. Right, so I've got it recombobulated here. Checking it out. The top half of the wheel spins freely with it unlocked, but when I lock it down, it's hard one-handed, we don't have that freedom anymore, which is exactly what we would want. So, borrowing my other hand there, it is free again. So, excited to get back on the boat and in the water. Okay, so I'm back on the boat. Checking out everything. We've got the new through-hull right there on the air conditioner. It looks like they went ahead and repacked that one, which is good. And then over here, we've got the new drive shaft with a new dripless stuffing box system. And it looks like they actually routed the vent line on that up to here, which goes back around, and I lose it. Looks like they have it going out the deck, which is good. That is out of the way of everything. So, yeah. Overall, I'm happy with how much work got done. I'm happy with the fact that I'm back on the boat on time, and I look forward to getting out of here and going back home. Okay, so it's drizzling right now, and before I leave, I'd like to change into my waterproof pants. So in 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're back in the waterproof pants. Next up, I'd like to put the auto helm back on the helm. And if you remember, that spell requires a 3mm magical hex key, so I'm going to have to find that real quick. Okay, got it right here in my set, 3mm. Alright, and put it back-ulus like it was-ulus. So it's back on, and last up, I'm going to put the wheel back on the actual helm, and then we'll get out of here. Alright, we're headed out now, going 2 knots here in the marina. Because this is an unfamiliar marina for me, I've only been in here once now. Gonna take it nice and easy coming out. One thing I'm worried about is the flow going out of the channel, because next after this I have to go into that channel right there, and it can get a little bit hectic when the tide is shifting, and I should have checked the tides, but I was focused on the wind because the wind is light. So as we enter the channel, just looking at the way the water is, it looks like I'm going to be fighting the current coming out. Not my favorite, but gotta take what God gives me and use it. I can feel the bow of the boat getting pushed already, and the stern is now getting caught up. Yeah, we're going to be fighting that current, so let's see how we can get out of here. We've got some rainbow action going on over there. Probably doesn't show up on camera very well, but you know, that's a sign of some sort, right? Hopefully we'll make it back. Looks pretty rainy up ahead. Got a wave at all the people who were smart enough to not buy a boat. Just kidding. Break out another 1,000 though. That has never felt so real before than it has this last few weeks. Yeah. Bye. So I'm going to test out the autopilot here when we get out into the main part of the channel here, and also turn the radio on because I forgot to do that. Hopefully that storm will have passed by the time we get over there. Try to get all the way over there around that point. Yeah. Okay, we've got that autopilot action going. It's not doing that great of a job, but it is trying, and sometimes that's all you can really ask for when we are facing a giant flood current. We're out of the main part of the channel and into the final few marks of it. I think I'm gonna have to motor the whole way because the sail's not really set up right now, and we'll work on that later this week. But hopefully at 5 knots we'll get there pretty soon. It's only a 10 or so mile journey. Go, little autopilot, go. You can do this. I believe. Thank you. Tested the autopilot. I've put a point about a mile ahead of us, 1.27 miles ahead of us, and I'm watching the off course there to see how great it actually holds the course that we were on. I'll probably have to adjust it a little bit. There's a little plus or minus buttons on here on the panel, and that's how you adjust the heading that it's holding. I noticed the further out we're getting, the more speed we're getting, so I may be able to throttle back a little bit. I don't like, right now we're at 2,000 RPMs, which is actually a pretty safe RPM for this engine, but I prefer to use something a little bit lower. Yeah, no rain yet. Hallelujah. Taking a look around the boat while she's autopiloting. We're almost to the end of the channel now. Kind of like that new boot that they put on there. Looks classy. And yeah, everything else looks pretty good. I'm happy. Thank you to the contractors. Thank you to everyone else. Thanks to those who didn't believe in me, and all the haters in the world. Just kidding. There's no one who hates me that I'm aware of. I don't know. If you hate me, let me know in the comments. Alright, so we've made our turn northward. GPS says that we'll be at the next waypoint at 5 o'clock. A little bit of time there, checking out everything. Autopilot seems to be doing okay. About 4 degrees off right now, so let's change that. Adding 2 degrees to it. See what happens. There we go. We'll let it do its thing for now, and can't wait to get home. Grabbed a room temperature beer there for the journey. Getting a little bit wet, unfortunately, but we're almost there. The time keeps shrinking on the arrival estimate, so I'm happy with that. Every minute, saved is another minute of daylight I get. Sun sets at around 5:30 nowadays. Way too early. If you ask me, they should change it. They should definitely change it. Next up on the list after I get back, I'm gonna have to get the refrigerator replaced and the plumbing redone and the propane system. I removed everything, all the old hardware. I need to get new hardware and a new tank, and then the water system still needs to be worked on, and all that'll come in a later video, but for now I'm happy with what we got done here. The stuff that I definitely couldn't have done by myself. You might be wondering, oh, all these other YouTube channels, they like to do it themselves, right? But I'd rather pay a professional to do the big stuff correctly the first time than accidentally damage it and end up paying more for my mistake. And anyway, that's all I have on that. Okay, we're almost to the next waypoint. I've went the autopilot drive the whole time, and it did a bang-up job, frankly. Increased the throttle just a little bit to get us there quicker, and I'm very happy with how it's working, and I couldn't ask for any better performance out of it right now. But that said, it is pretty calm out here, so we'll see how it does on a rough day. Finally, almost home. Have a little bit of daylight left, but smooth sailing. No actual rain. Cannot believe it. Alright, well, I'm back, and I'm got the boat docked. I'm gonna correct the lines, because right now they're kind of a tangled mess. And then after that, I'm gonna plug in the boat and go grab all my stuff.